Again, for those who are new, welcome to this space. It's an open forum where you can ask any questions on the usage of NowSite. To keep it organized, we only ask that you raise your hand. I'll bring you forward. You ask your question, I answer, and anybody can time in. So we all join into the share. I have also Robert assisting me in the chat. So if you don't want to take the mic, you can definitely ask the question directly and Robert will answer. For the rest, everything that we cover, I offer back through marketing assets created through NowSites. So I'm going to share these links in the chat. Feel free to join them if you haven't used them. All the recaps of these sessions are there, and I often refer to what has been previously covered. So it's a way of picking up speed or going back on the deeper conversation point that we touch as we progress. Good for everybody so far? Perfect. So as usual, we'll start with questions, if any. If not, I'll try to continue on where we left off yesterday. I know Lori had a questions about organizing email campaign strategy and such. I added some new documents in the tool about actually the first step into email marketing, at least in NowSite, which is setting up your email. And I think a lot of people or the new ones at least need to review that and look at what comes through that section. Good for everybody? Questions? If any, if not, I'll start. At any point during my presentation, again, as we are accustomed, you can time into the conversation and ask any type of question and on and off topic. I will answer. On and off topic I'm covering, I mean. So you will see for those who are in the room in the team section that I added in the course section. I haven't finished, sorry, not the course section, the team content course library. I added an exercise, the email setup. I think everybody could review it or at least share it to the new people that they onboard. It's an essential step at basically setting up your email. I'm going to go over this right now in a few steps there just to refresh, a refresher for everybody. And I'll also cover some deeper implications for those who have the Power Pack. Okay, good for everybody? Perfect. So when you are new to NowSite, this is your dashboard to set up the email or to go into deeper account information questions. Often enough, we have questions around billing. Well, the last tab here is where you will be able to review transaction histories. So if you want to go over your billing, understand what is your billing cycle, will NowSite cross-check some charges that have appeared on your statement that you're not aware of, transaction info. Billing information, if you need to update your information, of course. Password manager, if you feel like resetting your password. Notification setting, plan and pricing so that you know which plan you're on. But the one that we're interested in is the connection. Oh, a slight sidestep, account info. Often enough, we want to change the email sign-in to our account. If that is a question that has ever come to anyone's mind, well, you can come into the account info, right? And you can click on actually the email that you have set, and it will allow you to proceed with the new one. You will be able to swap that email for the one that you desire. Keep in mind that this email is the one that we will communicate with you by default for any system notification, pricing, billing information, or whatnot. It's not necessarily what I recommend, usually aligning with our email campaign tool. Okay, the email campaign tool is a second tab, connection. Okay, note I have more than one email synced. This is something that you can do if you have the Power Pack, but of course, it requires an understanding fundamentally of what happens across one email connection so that you can organize yourself around what will be transpiring if you're shooting many emails in different direction, covering different business interests. Okay, so be careful with that. I'm gonna set this one. So I'm going to disconnect it. If ever you want to, again, change the emails that you have assigned here, that would be a great demonstration. So I'm going to be disconnecting the last one and reconnecting it. So here, I can disconnect it. Note you had the change option. So if you want to change it without having to disconnect, This is an option. So I'm going to disconnect this so I can start it from scratch. So when you come into this space and you want to connect an email, very simply click on connect. You will be asked if you want to connect the email and at the same time upload the contacts. If you have been using that business email for some time and there are some contacts associated to that, you know what to do. I recommend doing it. It saves that extra step of having to go back to the contact and then upload basically those contacts. In this case, I'm just going to go for the email only. Simple process. Everything happens on screen. We're going to basically enter the information required. So the email, we recommend Gmail. Why? Because it integrates better with our platform and the steps are seamless for you. Meaning what? When I have set my Gmail account and I click on connect, it's going to automatically redirect me to my Gmail sign-in account, right? In this case, I am currently signed into this browser, right? So already just going to ask me to confirm, is this email that I'm actually want to connect? I'm going to say yes. And since I'm already signed in, it's just going to ask me to click on continue. If I wasn't signed in, it would ask me to submit my password to confirm basically my identification. So once I do, I click on continue. And this is the part that is very important that we often will miss. We are asking you to grant us access so we can actually send email on your behalf, right? And more. So by default, you always want to click on this to grant us the access. And at that point, it's done. When you click on continue, it's going to roll you back to NowSite, confirming that the account is synced. Now, often enough, I recommend checking on the status of your synced emails. Why? Because Google also has the habit sometime of refreshing the authorization to force you back into this process as a method of verification, I assume, but it will happen often enough. So as you are monitoring your email campaigns, short, medium, or long term, you will be called to come back in the space. So take the time to verify what is happening. Okay, very important. Notice I put forward three different types of email campaign as I was discussing: short, medium, and long term. I think that it's the best strategy to approach an email campaign length. Because remember, when you're going to be campaigning, there's an idea of length, right? And this is important. For the rest, once you have connected, we are now ready to go into the email section and start basically using the tool. Now, note, I'm going to use this one. When you are looking at your email campaigns, there's already information here that you want to account for. Again, in terms of statistic, we don't offer in-depth statistic, meaning who clicked on this email, when they clicked on it, and so on and so forth. We give you general email engagement information, so that allows you to rate the effectiveness of your campaign. Okay, I'm going to open this one here just to come back to what we have done in the email. Go ahead, Maria. You have a question?
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now. How are you doing
Okay.
today?
Okay, fine.
Good.
Good to see you. Well, I'm still managing the leads, yeah, that I told you about, the list. Maybe
Okay.
you can guide me because I have it now before me, the list. If I share a screen, can
Well,
we look at it?
since this is a group session, for
Yes.
your request, I would definitely recommend booking a private session so that we can do so. But if you want, I can quickly demonstrate from my side how to import a list.
Yes, and then I can see it the replay and try to do it myself.
Absolutely.
That
It
would
falls
be
in
great.
line.
Yes,
Absolutely. It falls in line with what we're going to be doing next. Just
yes,
to stay in the sequence of what I'm doing, I'm just going to cover the email assignment and then we'll go into the list question because it's actually part of the setup. Connected list and select send to lists. So we're going to discuss that as well in this email setup. First, I just want to address what we've done and notice when we have multiple emails synced to the account. When you open your email editor, note that you have all the information that aligns with that, and the emails that you have now available will be in the select emails account. When I use the drop down menu, you will be able to see
Wait,
all the emails.
wait, because I'm now on mobile. I want to go to desktop because I cannot see it on mobile.
Oh,
Wait.
absolutely. Well, take your time doing so. Since this is a general recap, while you're
Yes,
doing so,
yes,
close your mic and the recap will be available anyway. So you'll be able to see this on large screen. Don't worry about
yes.
a thing, Maria. Okay.
No, said.
Perfect. So that everybody can share into the example, I'm going to keep the process going. Okay. So just to recap and then on this part here, you can see now the email that I've connected. It's part of this list. Okay. And if I decide to assign this email to this campaign, I just have to select it. Note, I've assigned the email here, but the reply to, I left it different. This is something to note for those who are going to be sending multiple email campaigns in different direction using different emails. Think about the response. You need to funnel back the response to one channel that you can effectively monitor. Otherwise, you're going to be having to check email inbox after email inbox to follow up on any client's response. So this is the use of that. Now, for Maria and for the next part, all right? Of course, if you're going to email content, you're going to have a target. The first line here, connected list, has to do with the automation that we offer, meaning that when you click here, you have all the website or the marketing assets, which say that are actively listed, right? You recognize your website asset by their name here, and you will decide which one of these campaigns you want to assign this email to. So sorry, which one of these marketing assets or list you want to assign this email campaign to. So this is part of the strategy. If I'm going to create a email campaign, I need to know if I want it to be part of the automation, right? And in this case, if it applies across many of my assets, right? So I have my course library, which is a link that I showed you, my digital card, and so on. This is the automation. At that point, those forms, these opt-in forms are now connected to this campaign. Understand that part of the process so that at any point in time when somebody comes into that space, they submit their information and they start receiving this email in a core to the schedule. Hence the conversation to come around the length of your email, right? Now, this last one, the send to list, is where you decide which other list you want to assign this campaign to. And these don't have to be connected lists, which brings me to Maria's question. You can import your contact list if you have already a set of list. It's just an easy step. You're going to go to contact and you're going to go to my lists. Okay, very simple. Oh, I'm going to save these changes, of course. Note actually, before I go to that, once you have saved the campaign and assigned the list, you can actually see the ones here. These are the ones that are part of the automation only. Okay, so you can tell if a list is part of an automation process or not. But it doesn't mean that it's not necessarily assigned to a list, because I could assign it to any list here, add, and save, but it wouldn't register as such. Okay, so the list here only indicates the automation, so the funnels or the asset to which it's connected. Note. Now, going back where we were in the list. Note you have several
Vir-
options here.
Virgil, excuse me, but I don't know about the other people, but for me, it's like if you're speaking Chinese now, you're going so fast. Yeah,
Okay,
so maybe you can a bit slow down because my English is not so good, and also you are going so fast that I cannot follow you really.
I understand. I'll slow down the tempo. It is true that I tend to speak a little fast, but there's also uh, the idea that we need to sometimes adapt to the environment that we're in. It goes both ways, so I'm going to slow down the tempo. So, note when you're in the My List on top, you have three options. Okay, you can create a list without importing any contact. This can come in handy, for example, if you are about to prospect, if you do have access to the prospecting list and you're not sure where this is going to go, or you just want to start with creating a general contact list that you're going to come back and try to probe for opt-in, you can create a new list. You can also export. You can only export contacts that are yours. However, if you have acquired contact through the platform, you won't be able to export those specific lists. There's a restriction since we are not given ownership of that information. It's freely available for us to use. We do so, but giving you the option to export it would be giving ownership. And plus, it led to some things in the past. Now we're concerned with the middle one, importing, right? So this is where we cover your question, Maria. So far, so good. You follow me? The tempo is better? Perfect. I
Yes,
assume
I
that.
can hear you. Yeah, yeah.
Perfect. So when you want to import a list, and this goes for everybody, you're going to click on import. Now, note, you have two options. You have the email, and then you have the CSV file. Coming back to what we just said, if you're going to be connecting an email that has your contact list already attached to it, then you can cover that as you're connecting the email. If you did it prior, if you're doing it after, I mean, then you can use this option here. We're going to cover the CSV this time.
That
Now,
is if
CX,
you do it, excuse me, that is if you do it one by one.
this one here,
Yes?
no, this is a bulk import. So if I
A
click on
walk,
here,
a walk?
yeah, I'll show you. You see here, it's going to ask me basically which email now I want to import contact, right? So you can see here, these are the emails that I have connected and synced. Note, when I was connecting them, I only provided access partially to some of those emails. So email and contact, email only, email only. So when I go back to the list and I try that again, you'll notice that it's going to ask me, okay, well, which one of these lists do you want to sync the contact? Right? This is great, for example, if you have your phone synced to a specific email, because when you're um, uh, entering or submitting or what do you call it, saving new contacts, it gives you the chance to save it on your phone, your SIM, or your email, I think, and that will allow you to do these imports. Okay, so
Oh,
that's one thing. If it's not provided, then you're going to have to go through the permission setup again. Good for that part?
what is that? What is
Well, since you are connecting it to Gmail, we're going to need permission from Gmail. And you are the one to grant us permission via Gmail. Meaning, for example, if I click here, permission required, it's going to tell me basically to come back here and I'm going to have to reconnect because I need to resync this disconnected, reconnected with the contact.
Oh,
Okay.
so if I understand it correctly, your people who you have on your phone, yeah,
On your
when you that you have on your phone and that have an email, you can connect them
okay, no,
to now site.
no, let me clarify. Let me clarify. Okay,
Okay.
so on your phone, which is an Android phone or an Apple phone, you're often asked to register an email so that it's basically the email by default that is set up on your phone. When you when you start saving new contact, for example, you meet me in the street, you ask me for my information, I gave it to you. Only phone and number, for example. But if you do have my email, I give you my email, perfect. That is now in your phone. When you're going to save it, it's going to ask you, do you want to save it as part of your phone database? Do you want to save it on your SIM card? Or do you want to save it to your email, the one that is assigned to the account? So that makes it so that your phone contacts can be linked through your email through that process. Okay. But for now, let's take with the first part, the CSV file. Okay, because I assume that at this point you're looking, you have your list ready. So we'll go over that specific part of the inquiry. And if you need more, you know how to book a call. So we'll be able to do so. So for the CSV part, which is very important, and the setup aspect of it, preparation, which is something that we discuss a lot. So I'm back into the list. I'm going to click on import and I'm going to click on CSV. At this point, it's going to ask me to drag or drop or select basically the file where my folder, well, the folder that I want to import. So I'm going to click here, select, and it's going to open a pop-up. I'm not sure if you're seeing it on your side. So it's going to open up basically my PC, open up my download section, and start showing me basically what files I have access to. The Excel are usually branded with the Excel logo, right? But if it's not CSV, when you try importing it, you won't be able to. Okay, make sure that whatever document, whatever Excel document you have originally, that you save it as a CSV file before trying to import your contact list. Now, note what is happening. I'm just going to increase this as well so everybody can see this clearly. Now, you see here, it says column headers. These are the headers of my columns. Let me open up my Excel document so you can see pretty much what I'm saying. Oh, actually, wrong one, sorry. Where did I put this file exactly? Anyone would do. Okay, this one should do. Okay, so I'm going to share this Excel document with you so that you can see. It's not the one that I'm importing, but it's the idea of the headers. When you're organizing your Excel documents, you can see the counters here of your different rows and the letters of your columns. But the first one is always identified with a specific header. So here I have names. Then the next one, I have last names. Then the following one, I have email. And so should your Excel sheet be organized. Last name, name, last name, email. If we have the telephone number, we'll put the phone, right? If we have any other links, Facebook and such, this is where we start creating these headers, right? Because the idea now is that when you go back to our NowSite importer, our tool is trying to match your column headers with our NowSite fields, right? And you can see the header is called unsubscribe, so it will say do not import by default. We have no use for that. Same thing with this one. Same thing with this one. However, we have use for the first name. It's going to assign it to that tab. Last name, it's going to assign it to that tab. Email and such. I actually recommend when you're formatting your Excel documents, match our header name with yours. First name, last name, so that you know already where these fields or that information is going, right? And you can see basically what we are looking to get from you, digital information, right? So Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, website URL, number, email, last name, first names is the information that we're looking for. Once we have that in place, we click on next, and you'll see that it's going to match what we have to our columns. So it's going to put the first name in the first name, the last name in the last name, the phone, and so on and so forth. As you can see, this list does not have any email, so it would be pretty much something that I wouldn't consider using. Simply because SMS is a different beast of its own, right? And it's a very personal approach. Until you have mastered the sales flow, and you can do this with your eyes closed, I wouldn't even venture in SMS marketing for now. The alternative is DMs, direct message, social media. It's the same thing. So to finish up, as you can see, if I'm ready to import, I would click on import and it would ask me for a name. right? And I would call it, for example, test and port and save. Depending on the length or the depth of the field, the list, it's going to take a little bit of time for the AI basically to acknowledge it and put it in place. So you can see here, it's telling me, great job. This has been completed. I'm going to roll back and see if it's up to date. Could take a few minutes, but in this case, we are good. So you see, I imported 1,000 people. If I open the list, I can see now the gist of these people and I have the different pages to go about. At that point, coming back to our conversation about email, if I wanted to assign this list to this email campaign, which by all account would be useless since you can see that I had no emails in most of them. If I wanted to do this, send to list is where I would come back. And you can see now, oops, sorry, crazy. Here, you see my import is here. I would assign it, add it, and the moment where I send, I hit this, it triggers this. Okay, be careful because even if I came here and paused this email, if I click here, it forces it through from the beginning. Everybody, it's a blast, right? So be careful when you're hitting this button, okay? Because it means that whoever is in this list will receive whatever is part of this sequence, paused or not. Make sense for everybody? Were you able to keep up with the demonstration, Maria?
Yeah, Lori even said that was what she needed, by the way.
Ah, perfect, perfect, Lori. So I'm actually going to do a little case study and go over this because it's something that falls between the cracks about the proper setup of your list and what to keep in mind. I think it's also part of the strategy. If I'm going to be marketing online, when I'm looking for online information, for client information, I'm looking for their online information. Hence, basically, what we get when we're doing our lead to social. We get a lot of online information to set us up properly for that messaging, for that sales plan. Good for everybody? Any questions?
Well, yes, I have a question because I don't know understand what you have explained just. My English is not so good. Good. I don't know what you have explained, what you're going to do.
Oh, okay. I was saying that it's important, coming back to your question about your list, when you're preparing them, coming back to those headers, to keep in mind that we are only looking for digital information, meaning things to find the client online. Good for that part?
You mean that we have to follow the steps like in NowSite, first name and then second name, to do the Excel list the same?
Exactly. That
Okay.
is what we want. And set your list and maybe come back to me with a booking and we'll go over it properly and make sure that you reach your goal. Good? Go ahead,
Okay,
Audrey.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much. This is great info. I noticed when you pulled up your list and you opened it, at the top, there were some stats. You had over 1,000 imports. I saw 260 subscribed, and then I saw a figure for unsubscribed. Now, just for laughs and giggles, subscribed, is that talking about those contacts that are
Hello,
associated with your email?
excuse me. That is my list. Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to erase that. Sorry. I used it as an example. To answer that question, sorry about that, Maria. To answer that question, when you're seeing, and I'm going to open another one as a demonstration. So you see here, these
Yeah.
are indication of what has been done across these emails. These are ours, right, for our workshop, and you have all opted in for the conversation. Out of that, 4 people have, after opting in, have unsubscribed,
I
right? The unsubscribe happens basically when you receive an email. Remember that as part of the email requirements, we have to give an option for the recipient to unsubscribe.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Thank
when
you.
they do, it registered on our service. The list before most likely could be related to the status of these numbers. Numbers, like I said, is a different beast. I really recommend staying away from that unless you really have mastered what basically you're doing. As a matter of fact, since we're talking about numbers, I'm just going to cover quickly what to expect if ever you decide to dive into SMS marketing. Okay, here it's a few hoops that you're going to have to jump, right? First thing first, you always need to make sure that your account is properly set up. And in this case, mine is not properly set up. When it is, you'll see keywords and you'll see your number. The idea actually, when you're dripping on somebody, I think they actually closed this one on this account. The idea here is that when you're going to be preparing your campaign, you're going to be submitting each one of your messages for approval and review before the email can be rolled out. Sorry, the SMS can be sent out. These days, you're also going to have to show where you acquired those numbers because they won't allow a drip campaign or any type of SMS campaign to be sent out to a number that was not exchanged properly. Right? So there's a lot of restrictions here. I recommend, again, for those who have the tool by default, we can go into deeper strategies of using it from your website forms. It requires the person to opt in and such, going to the disclosure. I'll show what I mean by that on, I'll take my digital card here, and we'll come to this form. Oh, sorry, I'm just going to close a little bit of pop-ups here. So here, for example, if I chose to add and collect phone numbers, you would see that automatically there's a disclosure here. Can't be seen because it's in black and it's very hard to maintain. It's always going to be by default in black. Okay. You can have a strategy around asking people to text you their information if they're interested directly, or to leave their information to opt into a SMS hotline type process. But that would be the best strategy if you're diving into SMS. If you want that contact or phone contact is part of your strategy, then make it available and present as part of your conversation. Because when people volunteer their information, they are opting in, and a lot of these block or these red tapes are being removed just because of the willingness to provide their information and the fact that they willingly gave it. Good for everybody? Questions?
You have for me because I haven't
Oh la la.
understand anything.
Well, in a brief summary, I was saying, unless you are ready for SMS, put that as the last option that you will consider. Focus on social media together with email as a strategy. Good. Perfect, Rita. You want to go ahead with your question?
Hey, I just want to give a suggestion for Maria. Maria, there is a transcript button that's located on your computer that you can click for transcript. It'll ask you the language, and I know I don't use the Spanish one, but I think you can click on it and maybe Spanish would come up. I'm not 100% sure, but that may help you, aside from just going through the replay.
Oh, that is great. That is great, Rita. I'm searching where I can find it. Well, it's on the down on the side. Mass information. Well, subtitles.
Just
Subtitles.
just Google,
Transcription. What do I have to put in?
just click
What?
the,
Go ahead, sorry.
Transcription.
it says transcript.
Transcript.
Did you click it?
Yeah. And
Okay,
then I have now, okay, Rita, I see in the chat,
Since
it's
you are
in
very
English.
Mhm.
It's English. I can to translate it into Spanish.
can you click the down arrow
The down arrow.
where it gives you the opportunity to select English? It may have another language. I only use English, so I don't know what the down arrow is.
Oh, I have to find
Since you're
that.
very visual, Maria, this is what I would recommend. You see what I did here? And this is something that I recommend for everybody. I use this approach. When I'm not sure, go to Google. Google your question. Why? Because it will bring out transcript or roadmap for what you want to do in that space, right? So that way you would be able to follow step by step. And also, depending on your Zoom setup, things might have a different position. Are you comfortable with trying that, Maria?
Well, I will have to manage what Rita said. I'm finding where it is that you can put it in Spanish, because I see now the transcription in English, but you can change that to Spanish, as Rita told me. I'm searching. I
Okay.
haven't found it yet.
While you're searching, maybe mute yourself. I'll ask because Keisha has a question, and we'll come back. What I found here, I'm gonna translate it and put it also in the conversation. That might help you navigate the process. Would that work? You can go ahead, Keisha, with your question.
I was just going to suggest that she does it in, if she can't find the translation, she can do it in English, and then once she has the translation, she can tell Google Word or whatever to translate it to Spanish.
Yeah. There's many ways. I'm sure you have multiple options there, and you'll find one. I translated the step by step. I'm going to put it in the chat for you as well. That could help. Um, Now, in regards to what we were covering and what I said, any questions, feedback, maybe? Oh, it's a little bit too much text there. I'm going to do this in twice.
Virgil, she probably needs to be reminded to save the chat as well.
Yes, definitely. You want to save the chat on your side, Maria. Although I'll copy it and I'll maybe send it to you as well, or make it part of the Q&As in in English or in Spanish for you. Here, I put the translation in two parts, or three it will be, and that should allow you to navigate this. We're teamwork. We're working for our own. How's that? I love it. And here. So copy this conversation. It should help you navigate this question. Oh, there, there you go. I guess it's the journey of communication. Eh? We learn to read through uh, the miscommunication or the process. Okay. Any other questions that come to mind in line with what we're discussing? Anything else in that regards? If not, I'll elaborate a little bit on what I put forward. When planning an email strategy, in terms of deciding the length of your campaign, okay? I don't campaign a lot on email, as you can see, okay? But logically, the way I would approach this, or what I would suggest, based on the result that we are gunning for, right? Because if I have a short-term webinar, a short-term promotion, a short-term opportunity that I need people to opt in for, then the length of that email technically should be a short-term length. This is where we stick to our sales slope, right? We're trying to connect. We're going to try to build rapport. We're going to try to present. We're going to follow up. We're going to book that meeting, close that sale, and maintain the relationship, right? So usually we want to keep it short. If we are unable, for example, to convert the client on that first initial wave of exchange, then usually we want to give them some time. Giving them time for me falls into the second type of email length that we can have. Medium, right? Medium would be 2 weeks, right? Go ahead, Robert.
I just wanted to add, since we're on the topic of email, we might as well explain to everybody that's in here. In order for you to get somebody on your email list, you have to provide something of value. This is quite known as a lead magnet, something of value that you're offering for free so that they will get onto your email. Like what he was explaining, maybe it's a webinar or a free report that you've written up, something to that effect.
Absolutely. That actually, and we're gonna elaborate on that a lot the next time. I think value, right? We often talk about value offer. Last time I spoke about positioning uh, or adding value to your conversation so that we can drive that interest, we can engage or drive that impulse to engage in, right? So it's important to keep in mind that we're engaging in an exchange, a moral one. Coming back to what I said last meeting, in this space, my intent or my logic is karma. The more I give, the more I receive, right? What is the value of what I give? I need to present it, but I need to understand that I have to offer value. If it's information through a video, if it's a booking, if it's document, if it's a combination of both, I need to be able to quantify that value so I can showcase it, right? So very important, right? So long term or short term, well, short term, medium term. Medium term is a strategy where we're going to give the client some time to breathe and try to see if over time we get that interest back in. This is an example of a medium term. Now, keep in mind that when you're running a campaign, it's a cycle. I'm going to launch it. I'm going to monitor it for that time. I'm going to come back, take a look at the results. And then, depending on those results, I will alter the content, the aim, the approach within those sequence, right? And that becomes a little bit more problematic when we get into our long term, right? Because a long term email, there's 30, for example, emails. So when you're going into more than a 2 weeks, or I consider this a long term. It could be a 30-day training program to help you close set amount of lead or to get you started the right way. And of course, I would be giving you in accord to our courses, for example, and this is how we streamline, for example, our offer, coming back to the conversation that we had prior. I have this course, this video. You can watch it for free, but to really start taking advantage of the content that you get in, you're going to need the course content. You have to download it for a cost. You're going to need the practical exercise that come with workshops and a final meeting assessment. That's going to have a cost. Or you can have the assessment directly if you feel like you don't need a practical exercise. And that's going to have a standalone cost. And when I package all that, I can tell you this is the value that I'm giving you for free to try or on a conditional time or whatnot, right? It comes back to that idea of what are my income stream? Because even if it's not something that I'm planning to act on, knowing that this is a value offer, knowing that that asset has this value and it could be offered, I can state it now in my description. Join in my course, get access to the free videos, get access to this, get access to that, and so on and so forth. And these are the values that come with this should you purchase this standalone. At that point, I'm giving you already value. Sign up for this offer today. And this is the list of things that you'll be receiving. These are the original values, but this is the discount that I'm giving you for this time. Capture offer, value, interest, positioning. Okay, it's important to start thinking about that because the email strategy is meant to aim to achieve a goal, conversion or retention. Conversion is making sure that if you have an opt-in, you do opt-in. Retention actually doesn't necessarily just mean staying with me. It means everything else that the nav is preparing us for. Reorder, upsell, right? That's the part of retention. So it's very important when you are, again, coming back to one of the values that we covered, and one of the things that now I'm making standard as part of any training exercise: preparation, asset, inventory. If I'm going to go into a campaign, I'm going to prepare the conversation of that campaign, which is what I do in the business profile, keeping in mind my how, that are the list of my assets, all the links, all the possible conversion links or income streams offer that I have to work. And then I can go through the strategy across the board. What do I present when I'm trying to connect? What do I present when I'm trying to introduce the product softly? What do I do when I'm trying to bring what links do I send when I'm trying to bring them to a meeting, and so on and so forth. There's actually, if I'm not mistaken, not sure did I put it already. Yes. Last time since we discussed a little bit around the asset management and income stream, I put forward a little document in the practical exercises. And I think all these, coming back to asset preparation, is something that we want to go over as a case study. Take a look at the approach at listing your assets, take part in the practical exercise, and in the grand scheme of things, start looking at, okay, well, what are my income streams? What are these assets that have a value, not only for conversion, but for the income that I need to generate? We need to stay in business. Okay, so this is
Can I
important.
say something, dear?
Go ahead.
I don't know about the other people, but I'm not a tech person, as you know. And you are using a lot of words that are technical words. At first, I'm not technical, and then you use words that are tech words. So I really cannot follow you, because there are a lot. I have to have a dictionary to translate all the tech words and understand what you are saying about the tech words. Yeah, to understand all the technical language that you use. Yeah, and I don't understand, well, I have problem with English, but more problem with technical technical language. So really, it's not possible for me to follow you. Yeah, I don't know.
Actually, I want to intervene. I want to put this forward, Maria. First of all, I love the fact that you came, beside knowing very well that you maybe were not tech savvy, or that you may had some language barriers, because this demonstrates your willingness to grow. Remember, in this space, just like you, many are not tech savvy, and many of us started just like you, not tech savvy. One of the things, for example, that you're putting before you is fear. Why? Because none of the words that I actually use are tech savvy words. They're key words. Asset. Asset is what you have in your pocket to use for yourself. Value
Yeah,
is
but if we are talking about garden, to take an example, and
gardening.
yeah, if we are going not talking about the now side, but we are going to take an example about gardening, and we
Okay.
are going to go in gardening, and you are telling me this flower, the name and this name of this flower, and I don't know the names of the flowers. Yeah, then I will not can follow you. You understand?
Absolutely. I understand you, but this is where I was coming to my next point. The day you take me to the garden is because I asked you to take me to the garden and I wanted to learn. When you take me to the garden and you show me these flowers, of course, I hope you gave me a manual, right? Which is what I'm doing here to allow me to come back after and build myself to that knowledge. Remember, Maria, in this space, there's two things that we advocate: professional and personal development, right? You formatting yourself to understand these words that I'm using is you growing yourself personally, but also professionally, because these words that I'm using will not change in the industry. They're part of the industry. You leveling up to understand these keywords, at least understanding them, is the goal. Remember that the AI is meant to make the work easier for us, right? And even coming back to that AI conversation, all these words today that I spoke of, all these words that you will hear again when you go through this recording, this recap, remember that you have your Eric AI, you have your NowSite AI, and before any other AI, you have the one that better understands you on your account. You're my AI. Come back to your my AI. Ask yourself to the power of ChatGPT, what does this word mean? Read it, absorb it, grow. Next time, yeah, Verge, I know what you're talking about. Just like you would take me to the flower the next day after the first, and I would say, hey, Maria, I remember this one. Hey, Maria, what about that one? I remember this one. And I would be the one saying, hey, you haven't taught me about this one over there. It's the process. Remove the fear because each time you say, I am not and I cannot or I won't.
I'm looking at the translation. It's now in Spanish. It's very nice, but
There you go.
it's not. No, yeah, but it's not translating well. It's not
Well,
working well.
one thing,
But I found it. I found it, and I can follow it better now.
there you go. And there's also, lastly, power in what you said. If you're noticing that the conversation is not translating properly, it means that you're already peering to the knowledge that is coming through. If you can see the mistakes, then you know the path to knowledge. Good for everybody? Perfect. Oh, I was trying to bring back what you last said. Do it from the heart, but I forgot the first part of your message, of your quote yesterday, Robert.
I forgot now. Which part?
You know what? We're gonna go back and watch these videos and transcribe those quotes. These are actually great
I know
advertisement
what you're
quotes.
talking about. Get out of your head and into your heart.
Ah, you see, this is the one for you, Marie. Get out of your head, get into your heart. You obviously have the passion to learn, and you also have the drive to accomplish things. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. It takes a lot to take the stage and say to the world, I cannot. It takes a lot of courage. And you know when you become even more powerful? When you take all your weaknesses and you make it your strength. If everybody knows that you cannot, they can't
Never
hurt you
said
with that.
that I cannot do this.
I
No,
love that.
I never said that. So
I
I don't know
love
why
that.
you said that.
Well,
Well,
it's
no, 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 no. I will, if you, I will go now because I don't
okay.
like this conversation.
Oh,
Yeah.
uh,
So
I'm
see you
sorry if I
next
offended
time.
you. I
Bye
didn't mean
bye.
to.
No, bye.
Bye bye.
Maria,
Okay,
Maria. Oh,
it's okay.
Who,
Well,
who is talking to me?
Maria still there?
Yes, yes, because you're
Maria,
calling. Who
Virgil,
is
this is
calling me?
Jeremy for
hello,
Maria.
Jeremy.
Hello, Jeremy.
Maria, maybe this might be able to help you if the AI translation is not clear for you. You can use your computer or your laptop, follow along in the recording, and then any word that you don't understand, you can Google it on your phone. So now your phone will show it to you in the language that you ask for, and you can compare it with what you have on your laptop or your computer.
Oh,
Love it.
I thank you very much, but
You're welcome.
I'm making courses and I'm translating in 3 languages. So
Ah.
I'm manages. I'm for 3 or 4 or maybe longer, 5 years on NowSite. So I've worked many times with the tool. So
Love it.
Maria, you are brave. Maria, you're brave. It shows that you're on.
I am
Don't give up.
making a course, and maybe I will invite you to tell the people in my course to learn them, in my community to learn them now site. So Virgil, we
I
can
love it.
think, but we have to understand each other well, because I want to have peace in my community.
Absolutely. Peace and
Okay.
love are foundational to community,
Yes,
and growth
that
is
that
what we're
is
seeking.
that is my community all about.
Absolutely. Send
Okay.
the link. We will join into your session and definitely
Okay.
share,
When we
community
are
share.
ready and people are ready, I will tell you, come and let them show now site.
Perfect. We'll
Let me
wait for that day.
show them now site. Okay, I'm building. There
Perfect.
are now 25 people in my community. I
Perfect.
just started.
Good.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye bye now. Okay, Tina, sorry you had your hand raised. You have a question still? And after that, we'll be at the end of our time for
I
today.
don't, but I just wanted to say you're so amazing. Almost like a coach for me. Like you're so you're great with people and I really, really, really appreciate you. And I say all the time I'm not technical, but you're a great trainer and I am so blessed to be with you here
Oh,
twice a week. Soon one-on-one. I've got things I'm working on, but you're just great. And I think you're a great coach of how to handle people and such. And so thank you so much. And I learn a lot from all of you. So thank you.
thank you very
All I
much for the
wanted to say.
share.
You're
I mean, it's a growing exercise. I'm sure there's so much more I need to learn, like even balance a little bit the the intensity in when I speak. Sometimes I know I get passionate, but thank you very much for that. And the fact that you guys are always coming is actually fuel for my fire. If you guys looked a little bit of what I do, that is one of my driving motto, fuel by creation. And on that note, see each other again next week.
Give me high
Have a
five.
wonderful
Awesome,
prosper,
Welcome.
prosper.
Will.
Bye
awesome.
bye. See
Thank
you.
you, Virgil. Thank
Thank
you, Robert.
you.